Hey everyone, it's Mona here at Klatch. Today is Friday, that means it's another Coaster Friday. Today we are doing the Christmas cookie coasters that was suggested by Orlando Tube. I'm going to make the cookie coasters and they're going to look like sugar cookies. Now I am going to do two kinds. I'm going to do one that hopefully will look like a frosted snowman and another a little more simple. To make these I'm using air dry clay. Okay, I'm going to start just kind of squishing it around, get it a little more pliable. And I'm going to mix in a little bit of acrylic paint. I'm going to use this vanilla color and a squirt of khaki. I want them to look like sugar cookies, so I want them to have a little bit of a tint to them. And I'm going to squish this stuff around until all the color has been absorbed into it. Take my roller and I'm going to kind of roll it down just as though I were baking. Then you're going to take your cookie cutter and you're going to cut a couple of snowmen out of here. Put them on your cookie sheet and then you can just let them dry overnight. Now I'm going to make a couple extra just as ornaments. And I'm going to take a skewer stick, pop a hole right in here on both of them. Now that I put them on a cookie sheet, you can just let them dry overnight. Might take a little bit longer, or you can put them in an oven to dry on a very low temperature. You can also put it in a food dehydrator. I'm going to just let them be and sit overnight. Now in the meantime, I'm going to do another one. So I'm going to take some more of my clay. This time I'm going to be smart, put my gloves on. I'm going to create a little bit of a divot, add more paint. So now I'm going to roll this out as well. Normally what I would do to make this type of a cookie would be to roll it into a log and then cut slices. But this clay doesn't cut like dough, so we're gonna roll it out. And then I'm gonna take a circle cutter and I'm gonna just gonna cut some circles out. And then we'll peel them off and we'll plop them right on the cookie sheet with the other ones. Here they are on the cookie sheet. I'm going to let them dry. I'll make a couple more round ones to add to it since there's room. Once they've dried, we'll finish them off. So these are pretty close to being the right color of a sugar cookie, but they're not quite there. So I'm going to take a little more of that vanilla color and I'm going to just paint right on here. Now I don't want any brush strokes, so I will take a paper towel and I will dab it a little bit just to take any brush strokes away. Take my paper towel. Give it a dab to give it a little bit more of like a doughy texture. And if you don't want to mix the paint in with the clay initially, you can do it just after the fact. I just kind of like it in case something chips off or anything, that a lot of the color is actually running through the whole piece. The cookie coasters have dried and they're about the right color of a sugar cookie, and now I need to decorate them. I have 10 total. And have you ever seen those sugar cookies that have just like a sugary rim on the outside, usually in red and green sugar? That's what I'm going to do, except we're going to use glitter. To get the effect, we're going to use a whitish, clearish glitter and then a fine green and a fine red. I've already mixed the green together. Now I'm going to do the same with the red. I'm going to put a bunch of white in here and then the red just to kind of give it that red color. Then you want to mix it together. And that whitish, clearish glitter helps give it that sugary look, that crystal sugary look. All right, now this is going to be very, very easy. I'm going to take some thicker glue, and the Ultimate Glue fits the bill for that. And I'm going to run a bead around the whole cookie. All right, now I'm going to just dip it right into the green glitter. You want to dip it in there so it gets on there, so feel free to squish down. And now you have that sugary look to it. You're seeing a lot of white right now, but that glue is going to dry clear. All right, and then you just set it aside to dry. And then you repeat with the other ones, and you do 5 reds and 5 greens, or whatever color you want to do them. The other cookies are drying. Now we need to work on our snowmen. We're going to try to frost these, something similar to like a royal icing. Now these I'm doing just as ornaments, and these would be as coasters because they're big enough to handle a cup. I did a little research and I had read that people used paper clay to kind of make a frosting. So we're going to do that, and they said to add like paint and water. In addition to that, I'm also going to add super gloss Mod Podge. One, because it will help seal it, and two, hopefully it'll give it more of that glossy icing kind of look to it. So that's what I'm going for. I bought these squeeze bottles. These are supposedly the mini ones, but they don't look very mini to me. So I need to start mixing some paper clay and water. So I'm going to take paper clay, put it in here. This is all experimental for me. I've never done this before. I put gloves on figuring it's going to get a little bit messy. And figuring the easiest way to work with this is going to be with my hands. And we're going to want to mix it until it's pretty liquidy. So just keep adding water accordingly if you think you need to. And don't forget the Mod Podge. We want to work some of that Mod Podge in here too, but I want to see how well we can get this. I'm going to throw some white in there right now. I'm using a multi-surface paint just because it's going to make it a little bit more durable. You could use just regular white acrylic paint too. All right, I'm going to add some Mod Podge. Okay, we're still pretty lumpy. If you had an old fork or a fork from the dollar store, that'd be perfect to get rid of some of these lumps. All right, now what I'm going to do is, I think this is pretty much a good consistency for it. I think I have most of the lumps out of it, so hopefully it'll be okay. I'm going to take a funnel and one of my containers, and I'm going to dump some in here. And try not to make a humongous mess. Now what I also need is, I'm going to do a hat. So that's going to need some black, and I'm also going to do, obviously, a carrot for the nose, and I may or may not do a scarf. Now what I have are the white, and now I need a black, a red, and an orange. So I'm just going to add some acrylic paints to these and try to get the right color. Now you want it to get pretty dark, so you're going to add a fair amount of paint. Now that we have all our fake icing, now we can start to decorate. If you have bubbles on it, like I do, take your lighter and pop them, just like that. And if they show up again, do the same thing. So we'll put that aside and hope we don't bump it. Alright, the cookies have finished drying, so they have this sugary coating on the outside. What I am going to do is I'm going to take some kind of milk chocolatey brown, put it on my brush, and I'm going to take most of it off. I just want to get just a little bit on there to give it just a little bit of a browning, as though it was baking. It had been baking. And yeah, I could have done this before I put the glitter on, but I didn't. But you want very, very little on there. And it gives it just a little bit more of a look of realism. So I'm going to do that on these and on the snowmen, just on the edges of the snowmen. Alright, here is the snowman. His scarf broke open a little bit there, and I'm okay with that. The only thing I don't like that happened, and if you can see it on the scarf, it kind of bled a little bit. And I'll tell you what happened. I had the red all mixed, but I felt like it wasn't quite red enough, so I threw a little bit of food color in there. And the food color must have been what bled, so don't do food color, because I didn't have food color anywhere else and none of the other colors bled. So the scarf bled just a little bit. If you think that you want to color the mixture with food color, don't do it. Alright, so I'm just going to do the very edges here of the snowman, so it looks like it was baked. Now we need to seal them, and for these I'm going to use the Super Gloss Mod Podge because that gives a very shiny surface, and the royal icing has a very shiny feel to it. And I'm just putting it on the parts that have the icing. Okay, so you get it on there, let it dry, put it aside, and we're done. Alright, once these have dried, I'm going to use a matte Mod Podge because I don't want them to have any gloss to them. And I only need a thin coat on all of these, front and back, and it doesn't give it a gloss, so it still looks like a cookie. These are a really easy and fun hostess gift for the holidays. Our cookie coasters are finished, and these are the ones with the glitter. You're going to shed some glitter for a while, so just expect that. And if you're worried that glitter might scratch your table or something, go ahead, put those little felt or silicone, clear silicone pads underneath. It'll raise it up just a hair and you won't have to worry about it. They're actually smaller than the typical coaster that we make, but they're actually perfect for a glass. And if you had a bunch of these sitting around for a party, perfect. If you needed a hostess gift, perfect. Here are the snowmen, and here's a little one that I did just as an ornament. Again, I'm going to tell you, do not add food color when you are coloring the frosting part because that will run. So you can see that it ran a little bit. But other than that, you can, put them out as little decorations, or you can also use them as a coaster. It's going to look like you were very busy baking. I hope you like the cookie coasters. They were fun to make and something a little bit different than I would normally do. Next week I'm going to do one more holiday coaster, but I'm not going to tell you what it is, so I'm not picking from the fishbowl this week. I will pick next week, but that's going to carry over into 2017. So the next one I pick will actually be the first one of the new year. So I'm going to have next week's coaster, and then I'm going to have the coaster year in review, and that's going to wrap up the year. So any ideas that you put in now, make sure that they're not holiday related unless you're jumping ahead to Valentine's Day already, which would be okay. But everything's fair game right now, so if there is something that you want to see, add it to the fishbowl, and I will pick again next week. So thank you guys for watching. Happy holidays. I hope that things are going very smoothly for you and that you are ready to take on the holiday. I feel like I can't find my groove this year, like everything is taking longer to accomplish. So we gotta just power through it. I will definitely see you next time, you guys. So remember, life is too short not to shimmer, so grab your glue gun and your glitter. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. And while you're here, remember to subscribe so you don't miss a thing.